Prepo pulled back the curtain the other day by saying there's like a 1 second you know, delay between our screens and this one, so that one wasn't. But Kassadin Tampkench off the table now. I know the analyst tests don't think Shen is quite such a big proponent, but the thing is, it's difficult to deal with in the early game for a team like Splyce. And Ashe ban is not something we were expecting. So it has been a big pick for Veritas, but I guess this puts, sorry to keep cutting you off, it puts us in a Lucian Jhin setup for AD carry. There's not a whole lot left.
I mean, Splyce have heavily prioritized the Lucian early pick. With Sivir off the table, they went Lucian again.
It's gotta be Shen, surely, from Splyce as a first pick here.
Rek'Sai is not available.
Elise, possibly.
What does Splyce agree on? Gnar is up and available as well. So an alternative pick into the Shen, something that has not been available all series long.
But I want to see that as a reactive pick. First pick Jhin from Splyce is putting so much stock into Kobbe. You just gave away Shen. You gave away the jungle matchup. The Nidalee is available for move as well. The Karma is up to flex. That is a ridiculous first pick that they have forced themselves by trimming the pool of AD carries. Specifically, we've seen a lot of Jhin into Ashe as well. So if you were looking to first pick that, I don't know.
I mean, Veritas has had a good series. Veritas has had impressive games, and while, yes, the Shen from a play style has had an impact, you also cannot deny the fact that that buff Veritas comp from Game 4 was hugely effective. And they've got the makings of that once again. Karma plus Nidalee. Shen is still up in the pool, as is Gnar, as we've already mentioned.
So Trashy looking likely for the Elise or the Gragas on this rotation. Unicorns saving their top laner, flexing the Karma, again, mid or support. The reason they're saving their top lane for now is just so that Splyce either have to pick something and blind pick it. If they pick the likes of a Gnar, we know Trashy plays the Aurelia. He plays the Kennen. These matchups that he can play into it. So there are alternatives. So Splyce may go for a blind pick mid laner here. Talia is available should they want it, has previously been banned in this series.
And then, of course, that will allow Unicorns to flex the Karma. Doesn't have to go in Exile's hands. Hilly's played it as support. And obviously, we've already seen it in Exile's hands in the mid lane. Ryze is still another option, something that Exileh has used multiple times this series. And Trashy's going to go back to a comfort pick. So back to Gragas. The Bard is locked in as well.
And this is basically a forced Bard pick. If they pick Braum there, Unicorns go through the rest of the draft and either pick Bard in the next rotation or last pick it and get the good matchup into the Jhin. So for now, Splyce are banking on having one side lane matchup go their way here. The problem is you don't know whether that Karma is going mid or support still. So if Unicorns leave it for a mid flex or support flex last, they should be able to get the beneficial trade here. You'll kind of take an acceptable loss if you pick the Shen here and end up against the likes of a GP.
Acceptable loss. Will not be the case if it ends up losing the game, though. But both teams got a lot of power to work with, and with the AD carry pool pinched so hard, where does Veritas fall back to? Lucian is up, Tristana.
We saw Tristana from him yesterday. It actually did very well against Fnatic. And the reason I say acceptable loss is because we just saw Unicorns take control of the early game with the Shen. It has a period in the game where you are ahead, where you have something to build from. It's not a straight-up losing lane. So the fact that it loses later in the game is completely fine for the Unicorns if they build around that.
And that's definitely feels like something that they've done. Karma can still get flexed to support once the final team composition here from Splyce is locked in. Sencux hovered the Ryze for a brief moment, so we know that it is a consideration. Malzahar the safer pick than the Talia, in my opinion. And obviously, it's going to be the matchup once again. GP and Malzahar. We'll find out whether or not that is the pivotal matchup. And more importantly, we'll also find out what level of impact Kobbe and Veritas are going to have, because those are the two roles that have changed the most. You know, everything else that we've seen in this draft thus far has been fairly standard, matter of fact, for this best of 5. And now we're going to see Wunder on Jhin. He played it in game 3. It was the 60-minute game. He went for that full, heavy crit build. High Edge Essence Reaper.
And I have to take a moment here to echo the sentiment of Yamato himself when facing off against Prolly, talking about coaching and, you know, the refusal to adapt. And there have been some adaptations from Splyces, not the same comp time and time again. But unless you somehow are having your players focus on turning around these early skirmishes, which is very difficult against the Shen, then this could be the sword that Splyce fall on. If, for a 4th game in a row, Wunder cannot find himself into a comfortable spot in this GP Shen matchup.
And we'll find out whether or not it's the case. I mean, we keep harping on about Shen over and over and over. Vizicsacsi, 9 Shens out of the last 11 games. He went 6-0 in the regional qualifier. He's picked up 2 wins out of this best of 5 already. And now Unicorns of Love, they've got a very limited damage comp. This is a,
well,
let Lucian do the work.
We're going early diving here. Put your swim trunks on, because Unicorns are going under towers at this point. Alistar, you've got Shen, you've got Nidalee to poke people down.
And you've got a champion like Jhin and Gangplank as fairly easy targets. Low mobility. If Splyce are not able to respond, Trashy, there's going to be so much pressure on him to read this game and to respond to these potential dives. For the last time in Berlin, Germany, here in this studio for the 2016 season, Sheepy and Yamato Cannon shake hands and walk off stage. 2 enter, only 1 goes to Worlds, only 1 goes to San Francisco, and for both of these teams, it'll be a first-time appearance at the World Championship.
I'm happy to see Trashy back on the Gragas. I feel like it's been one of his better picks. He's been able to easily track the enemy and start fights. But Move just showed us a good game on the Nidalee. It's all on this.
Let's hope both teams show us a good game as Splyce and Unicorns go toe-to-toe in game 5. Welcome to the stream for anybody that has joined. We've had a chaotic, crazy series thus far. The TLDR, GP versus Shen, has been the flavor of the day, over and over and over. And both Splyce and Unicorns have had a strong win and some messy games in and amongst the previous 4. But for both teams, it'll be a first-time World Championship appearance with whoever wins this final deciding game.
And for any NALCS viewers that typically do not tune in to the EU LCS, Splyce are a team that only came in this season. In spring, were in promotion relegation matches. Through the summer split, went on an insane winning streak after fixing a lot of macro issues, playing smarter, better League of Legends when it comes to macro play around the map, taking control of multiple lanes, would play 2nd in the split to G2, but are struggling against the Unicorns of Love, who have been somewhat consistent, but have always had questions, whether it was their bottom lane, whether it was, you know, the way that they reacted to plays on the map, but they have forced out so many fights in this series to take us to a game 5 between 2 teams that seem very evenly matched.
And Stress, if we step back and look at the compositions once again, the AD carry pools are just pinched so heavily. Kobbe's now got his hands on Jhin once again, Veritas on Lucian. What are we looking at in terms of this matchup? Obviously, Jhin plus Bard, this is just going to be so frustrating for Veritas and Hilly in the early stages.
Yeah, I mean, Kobbe's going to walk up, hit that 4th crit shot on somebody, they're going to follow up with some auto attacks from Bard, and somebody's going to be half health.
Ooh, just short.
Narrowly missed, but this is what happens when you end up playing Alistar into a double-ranged matchup. Fairly tough, actually, to do anything. They have to respect the Q flash at level 2 when they actually get it, but it's a long way off. There's that 4th hit.
Yeah, minions, though, eating the Cosmic Binding, so Mikyx unable to put any more poke down. Catching a quick glimpse up top. Wunder going to be jumping around. Now, Chachi's done very well all series long of killing those powder kegs before Wunder can proc them on his opponents. And I want to keep track of that, how this laning phase will play out. Chachi really wants to get rid of that keg, it looks like.
Too much he wants to get rid of it. Yeah. The problem with what Chachi is doing right now is Chachi is playing he's playing in the mindset of the previous games as well. Like, he's not just in this game currently. He's like, okay, well, I've done this time and time again, so I can do it again, right? And he has to be careful that every game is a little new, and you can see in the bot lane is going differently now.
A lot of minions. Yeah, but look at the minions.
Into
Wunder and a cannon creep.
And this is what I mean, is Trashy is playing like he is already ahead in this matchup. And yes, Shen does have a decent early game against GP, but you cannot go that aggressive and try and take these trades because he's giving Wunder the better early game right now. But Trashy will be able to take out the additional creeps as we go later.
Looking elsewhere on the map, still even CS numbers here on the middle lane. Going to be a bit of a farm fest until either party gets involved. In the previous game, there's a lot of jungle ganks and roams into the mid lane, which allowed Unicorns to take the lead. And down in the bottom lane, CS is still even, but important to note, Veritas is out of consumables. There is still a wave pushing towards him, so they'll be able to even up that CS difference. Wunder just out of range of the tower.
Barely.
That was very close. But and I think Chachi's still got the keg, though.
You can see now it's in a position for Trashy to make that play. He's traded a lot of health off Wunder and survived through, so he's actually okay, but he's going hunting. He's going to try and... I think he's just trying to stop the recall here, but Wunder goes to the furthest push.
Should get his hands on that Sheen, right? There we go. Sheen, refillable potion. Instant TP back. Keep the cannon creep alive. Will be equaled. Do this a couple times. Trashy. Ah, there we go. No real damage though. No taunt either. And instant citrus chomping by Wunder. Takes a lot of damage though. And just trying to see how that one played out. No ultis available, but the Malefic Visions and Voidling really doing a lot of damage into Exileh.
Gotta be careful. We saw in the last game it backfired a couple of times when Exileh went this aggressive in the lane. Got a kill on one with the rest of the team for a dive. Move crosses the ward. Not going to be able to pick up anything on Sencux for now. And back to the bot.
All right, so Stress, looking at the team comps here from UOL. Kobbe, when he played Jhin previously, went for that crit build, as I've mentioned.
Yep.
Infinity Edge, Essence Reaver, etc. More like a auto attackers style build. He'll do that again.
He doesn't necessarily need to this time. A little less on the tanky side. There is still, of course, an Alistar, a Shen in this mix. But you can see Wunder is already fighting Trashy back once again in this.
The thing is, it feels like Wunder's got more control of the lane this time around. Pushing Trashy back into tower, keeping his HP low. Throughout most of the rest of the series, it's kind of been Trashy that's been shoving into Gangplank over and over and over. Maybe some of that concentration, maybe some of that pressure is starting to get to the guys.
Move, importantly, got a ward down onto the Krugs, where Trashy just was. So they've been able to get a little moment now where Trashy knows that he can stick around in the top lane. He isn't under too much presence. And for once, it's now the Shen that has the ultimate available before the Gangplank. The last couple of games, we've seen Wunder hit that level 6 first, but Wunder is now back up to the top side. We'll get into the lane and be able to take it down. This is a much slower pace than the last game. Last game, we were going balls to the walls all the time.
Yes.
This one's a little bit slower.
If I recall correctly, going back to game 2, it was around 21 minutes for First Blood. A lot more controlled, a lot more passive. Exile's going all the way forward. Good damage. Nethergrass plus Malefic. Sencux cancels it early.
Has to
dodge the Javelin. Trashy was waiting in the wings, so if Move had gone further, Trashy could have joined the fight, but not this time around.
Not this time. Trashy, however, is at least keeping up with Move on CS. Typically, Nidalee's early clear. It's easy to get a lead. The problem is the experience advantage. Oh, Hylissang locked down again. But it's this bot lane as well, though. Even though they're trading health, Unicorns are keeping up in CS, so all they have to do is just avoid getting caught out. Avoid actually getting killed, and they should be okay.
Look at the difference in stats here from game 4. This was the Protect the Veritas comp. So, obviously, when you have all that additional support, you're going to come out ahead. But just great performance from Veritas, who is another player that has been criticized and been looked at throughout the course of the split, you know, in terms of the impact that he's had and his ability in game.
And it's very weird that he was an AD carry we were criticizing, talking about how, you know, he seemed to do a lot better on the utility AD carries. we end up in a 2 versus 2 meta, and Unicorns
End
end up like one of the better teams at actually playing out the early game, which we'd spoken about was one of their worst aspects. Like, when we were in lane swaps, there were just mistakes, there were issues. Like, I remember games where Trashy was like pushing up and dying. 1 versus 2 because he didn't ward properly and didn't really pay attention. But Unicorns have been so much better now. They go on Hilly.
Oh, Kobbe's in so much trouble. Mikyx wasn't with him. Tempered Fate, not already used, finds nobody. First Blood's going to be available shortly, but Mikyx, he got the stun. Don't kill yet. Cannon Barrage comes out. First Blood to Trashy. Kobbe goes down after, but here goes Vizicsacsi. It's Splyce that pull the trigger first. And they get 2 after what I think may have been a mistake. In that replay, I really want to see if Hilly just went for that engage. But man, Splyce come away 2 for 1.
And this was Splyce finally being able to react well to the early Shen presence. Again, it was ultimate for ultimate, but the position on the fight that they ended up in meant that there was just no real way of the Unicorns getting too many more people in that engage. Now Move and Mikyx going toe-to-toe, but it's just going to be a little bit of damage traded back and forth. But when we do see that replay, we'll be able to check for you. There's Wunder and Trashy. Wunder now back up. Trashy now back up to top lane. He TP'd up there, so has now used that teleport. So this was the engage. So Hilly goes aggressive into this play. Onto Kobbe, knocks him back, and dodges out the bar. Ult. They go through. Hylissang looked like he got body blocked by Trashy on the onset of that play. Ends up getting taken down by the cast from Trashy, and Sencux is roaming first. Exileh was out of lane. It had been shoved up to his tower, so Splyce easily moved between lanes.
Very controlled decision-making this time around. Allows them to interpret the situation well. And I think that's important to note. Splyce with an early advantage in what feels like the first time in a while. It feels like Unicorns have been the team to strike first, have been the team to, you know, pull the trigger first, land the first punch. And
misses a spear, misses a jump.
Ooh, pressure, pressure, pressure.
Yeah, maybe it's getting to move.
Root as well. Move might be in trouble. He's trying to pounce away. Dead. Get the dragon for help. Dragon gets tagged. Fourth and final shot.
Oh! From all the way downtown, Kobbe snipes him out. Move. Just from the
first
jump.
First pick Jhin. That situation, the amount of pressure on Kobbe. After that game, we looked at the stats. And this time around, Kobbe comes out, he gets the kill. By the way, watching Mikyx do that warding mission, while it worked out great, obviously, with a kill onto Move, Mikyx was guilty of giving up very, very, very many deaths throughout the course of the split by going on those solo warding missions. So we need to keep track of how risky his positioning is, because it is a problem that he got better at. He resolved some of those issues.
He did, but then you look at his other Bard game in this series, and he had more deaths than assists. He actually was 0-8-7 in that game, and really got picked off so frequently. So we'll track it. We'll keep an eye out on those warding missions.
We have to. And it's getting into the game now where you have to start wondering, you know, who are the pivotal playmakers here? Who's stepped up when the pressure is on? And
just caught out. And this all stems, for a pink ward. But unfortunately, like, I think you have to go a moment further back. Got him.
The super slow-mo.
Super slow-mo.
Super
Observers,
painful.
I could tell what the observers were trying to do there. They were trying to get it before the shots. They could, like, follow it in.
The problem was Jhin was framed, so when they hit the Jhin number, it didn't cut to
It didn't cut, I know. Observer
We
thing.
get you guys.
Sorry,
no, it was good.
Hey, you've had some great ones this game. Again, you miss every shot you don't take. That would have been fantastic.
Except for Kobbe, he hits 3 out of 4 and kills Move.
That's true. That is true.
And that means he's got a Ghost Blade.
It does, which is the difference between that and the full crit build that we saw out of him earlier. The Essence Reaver, Infinity Edge, like Phantom Dancer with Armor Pen as well. Basically, trying to one-shot tanks doesn't really work.
Move. At it again. Stand United's available, though.
Again, a pink ward is his undoing.
If shenanigans break out, support can come down. Cannon Barrage and Teleport's available for Wunder as well. I'm just getting excited at the potential juiciness that has not unfolded yet. Trinity Force just picked up by Wunder. So laning phase goes out. Move and Trashy fairly quiet. Move even on CS with Trashy's Gragas. In the previous game, we had anticipation. Maybe more negative anticipation about the Nidalee.
Well,
I want to see how he plays these next few minutes.
this is the spot that a Nidalee doesn't really want to be in, where you only have one winning lane. Wunder couldn't quite get that. Now they've traded sides, so...
Keep trading back and forth. Trashy comes away in the better position, but minions will help out Wunder.
Top lane, Trashy kind of has a lead in, but it is a lot more even than the last couple of games have gone. Mid lane, Exileh is still in control of. But Veritas and Hylissang have been fairly heavily pushed back in the lane at all times. They have farmed out fairly well despite that, but with such low health bars a lot of the time, you have to be careful that, you know, this duo lane doesn't just get engaged upon. So Move doesn't have a whole lot of freedom, so when he goes into the enemy jungle, the push isn't quite there for his team, and that the territory hasn't been controlled yet, so it's tough to make it work.
And that was the same problem that Trashy had when he played mid earlier.
Yep.
The lanes just don't work in your favor. So 3 kills to 1. It is a small 600 gold lead. CS is even for top and jungle for the most part. No, that's a lie. 15 plus to Move. He's actually built up an advantage. Tempered Fate flashed away from.
Gets the flash.
Summon a spell. That is very important against the likes of a Gragas plus Malzahar combo. Really easy to set up a kill on that mid lane. And of course, that's a CS difference that you sort of expect. Karma bullying Malzahar. That's not really a big surprise yet.
No, we saw that in the last game as well. Kobbe forced back away from the tower. Now Unicorns have started to push out. They've got past, you know, the point where Kobbe and Mikyx alone are enough to push them back. So maybe Move will start getting a little bit more presence. Nice dodge out by Wunder. That means he saves his heal.
Spirit Refuge. Not going to block too many autos because Wunder just gets away. This time around, just trading, and you can see the evolution of this matchup.
Only took 4 games.
Just keep going over and over and over. And it's very exciting. We actually saw the drop down earlier. Vizicsacsi 8-1 in his 9 Shen games throughout the postseason. And of course, played a whole bunch of those today. Remember, no flash exile. Remember, Trashy can get an easy one. Flash forward, Nethergrass, barrel, cannon barrage, exile. There's no way of getting away from that. Taunt comes out from Trashy, but we're going to cut bottom because Mikyx's the target. Deadly Flourish will root down Hylissang. Nothing further. All right, critical. 1, 2, 3, 4. But no kill from it.
No
Just
kill.
like counting, because Jhin counts 2. Unbreakable Will was not used. Hylissang has the ability to go forward.
Move.
And he has Ignite. Mikyx gets tagged, but it's Kobbe that goes down.
Yeah, Move just getting into the lane in time to turn that one around. And Splyce were looking aggressively into that bottom lane to try and catch out Veritas or Hylissang, but eventually the numbers game is just too much. Trashy was mid lane and wasn't able to come bottom in time. And now Unicorns are looking to get themselves tower first blood here. This one's going down.
Not just yet.
Ooh, yeah,
Stress,
they're
there's
going to get pushed back.
defense.
Hang on. Trashy and Sencux.
Roam their way down, and Splyce defend their tower. That's very important when you look at how close the gold is. Even in kills, no towers yet, no dragons yet. It is a mountain as well. It's a juicy dragon worth fighting for.
Mikyx just gets engaged upon. Exhaust goes down onto Veritas. Veritas couldn't actually close the gap to get the damage down, so this is a good start to this, but now Splyce have to kind of concede the room. If you don't see where Move is, he likely had just tracked through some of these wards, so maybe just Splyce not communicating exactly where the jungler is. There were enough wards around that I believe he would have been spotted in the jungle.
But Move gets away with it, gets an assist on the board. And the Unicorns of Love, they're not done yet. They've still got a team composition that will spike very, very heavily in the mid game.
This is a little frustrating for Splyce. They just had to move Kobbe and Mikyx back from mid lane, back down to bottom lane. They'd already conceded bot tower in their minds. They'd already kind of given up tower first blood because they were running up mid lane. Now they came all the way down, and it means they're about to get dove. If they stay there, Kobbe and Mikyx will not get anything from the situation. But it's top lane, we're going to see a TP out in reaction.
There's
cancelled.
2 things to this. They get the summoner spell. They also slow down the bottom push. But tower first blood still to Unicorns.
Yep.
Very proactive play. May even, actually it will open up an uncontested dragon here. And that's just going to be all sorts of worthwhile of the Unicorn squad.
I wonder if the TP out of Exile was just to show presence around Trashy so he didn't get dove for the tower. Like, I don't think Splyce would have got tower first blood, but still there would have been that presence around it. Unicorns are once again starting to take control of a game. If you're a Unicorns fan, it does start looking pretty tasty for you.
But it is controlled this time around.
Yeah.
The pace is much slower. Calculated, I think, is a better word for it. Because it seems like there's a much clearer decision-making process. And for me, it's now how do Unicorns open up the rest of the map? They've got Shen, which is going to be great at helping out. Kobbe plus Lucian, get them all together. And obviously use that combination to try and out-pressure Splyce, who've got a lot of scaling on their side.
They do, and that is the danger for the Unicorns. Their real damage threat is this Lucian for Veritas. He only has 1 kill right now. He is ahead a fair amount when you look at just the CS, and that kill translates to about 600 gold. But unless they get more and more kills on him and snowball the Lucian alone, Splyce will end up with more damage than them in the late game. And that is not something that the Unicorns really can bounce back from very easily.
And so many threats. Shen can only taunt so many targets. Deadly Flourish, not going to find Exile this time around. 0-1-0 in his karma. He went Ardent Sensor, then Death Cap in the previous game.
Oh, careful, Wunder.
Wunder's going to be in
He's been
trouble.
spotted, but there's 3 people coming top lane for you once that wave pushes forward. Hylissang's backed away. Doesn't want this engaged.
Yeah, spot on the blue trinkets.
Yeah, he was spotted, but at the same time, it actually... it's because there's no wave. Okay, Wunder cut the wave. That's what actually forces this back away, because even if the minion wave pushes in and you've been spotted, with the Alistar, with the amount of damage that Unicorns have, they should have been able to get that, but without the minion wave to absorb it first, it can move misses another one.
Yeah, Cosmic Binding was already used though. Curtain Call, if it gets channeled, this could be a kill. Kobbe gonna fire it up. Hilly or move, Unbreakable Will comes out, damage reduction comes for a few tags. One more shot, wait for it to time out. We jump up top. Vizicsacsi gets killed by Trashy, and unfortunately the Curtain Call finds nobody else. Splyce get themselves a kill when they focus UOL's attention. Tepid Fade actually tags the tower. No further dive was available, and Sencux fancies his chances, decides to back away. Splyce kills number 5.
Kill number 5, objective only number 1 for both teams right now. 20 minutes in this game. There is, however, a mountain on the Unicorns. Wunder is a lot better off in this matchup this time around. It's taken 4 games, but finally he looks a little more comfortable. Splyce want to push up to this tower. Mikyx very low here. Got to be careful of a counter engage here for Unicorn.
The other side of the equation that we haven't asked yet was maybe Gangplank ban-worthy. We'll find out as this game plays out. Javelin toss onto Sencux. The Unicorns, they defend their outer turrets. 0-0-4 on Wunder's Gangplank. He's about to get his Ghost Blade, and he's starting to take control of that lane against Trashy, obviously with the help of Trashy.
The big difference between this game and the last 3 in this matchup, though, is that the Trashy Stand United play did not work in this game. They tried to get it, ended up losing 2, and it backfires on the Unicorns. That is the biggest change in this matchup. It is not so much about the lane specifically. Yes, Wunder has looked better, but still, as a team, Unicorns botched that first little engage, and from there they've looked really shaky as Move hasn't been able to get much. Again, Trashy feels like he's so far ahead that he can go aggressive, and to some extent he is, but doesn't read the jungle. Body slam flash comes out from Trashy. It's an easy pickup onto Vizicsacsi after that, and Splyce were pushing mid lane at the same time.
Yeah, they were indeed. Even though that tower didn't fall, they got a lot of damage onto it. Down to below like 10% basically, while Sencux's mid-outer is still standing. Item breakpoints continue to grow. Take a look at this. Ghost Blade picked up for Kobbe. We'll expand on that in a second. It's going to get taunted up. Sencux should die before this teleport completes from Wunder. No, he doesn't. Flashes away. Not dead yet. Vizicsacsi in exile. They don't have the damage. They do have the shields, though, and it looks like Vizicsacsi's made it away. Wunder's looking for exile. Tags him with the parlay. Look in the river. No fight breaks out just yet. Deadly Flourish comes down, and Sencux survived. I did not think that was going to happen, but Trashy not the greatest damage.
Yeah, Trashy also survived, though, at the same time, so didn't quite get too much, but the TP came out from Splyce from Wunder, and Sencux had to flash himself. So Splyce will, however, use that distraction on the bottom side to finally push that mid tower through. And this is one of the first times in the last 3 games that really Splyce have opened themselves up a lead at this point in the game.
2,000 gold. They've got a tower advantage, and it feels like they've figured out Trashy Shen for now. I also think we should highlight the fact that Exileh are running this Karma mid. It was a very early pick. Oh, last second safety moment. That Karma mid, you see the difference not having the damage to help kill Sencux, despite the taunt, despite the nether grasp. But it's because his build and his itemization is to make Veritas better, not really to solo or lock down for himself.
That's true. There's there's like a golf clap in here for Trashy killing barrels. That's, we've moved on.
He deserves it.
He does. Somebody is going to go back and count those. If I say that, maybe somebody will.
Okay, let us know. We'll make a graphic out of it.
There's some people that have a lot of time.
We'll do a drop down.
No, I'm not saying our people. I'm saying that.
Oh, I think,
like,
you know, we can come back in 2017 and be like, you know what? Trashy killed 217 barrels in a best of 5.
We'll open show 1 of the 2017 spring split with that.
If Trashy kills the barrel that wins the team fights, that then sends them to Worlds, I'm down. Right? Deserves it.
Hey, you're counting? Is that
no, I'm down to make the graphic.
Okay.
Or at least tell the graphics guys to make it. But that is an aside, because Unicorns have to find a way back into this game. No roots onto move, but there's pressure on the tower. Culling goes kind of a bit wonky. Doesn't really have the impact that I think Veritas was hoping for. Black Weaver, Ghost Blade built up. His opposite number, Ghost Blade and the Dusk Blade of Drakthar. So Kobbe's in a pretty good spot to cut down the squishies. And again, this slower pace, this reactive style is favoriting Splyce, because that is the Trashy play. Body slam flash, Veritas is down. Hylissang's got Stand United, will deliver Shen to the waiting hands of Kobbe. Tempered Fate will buy more time as Move is throwing out javelins on the side. Here comes another teleport from Exileh, but it's simply too late. Hylissang's run out of a breakable will, and he gets broken. Sent back to the fountain. Trashy's on the backside. He's going to get taken down as well. Wunder, Sencux, they're driving it home. Exileh, the last unicorn standing before they go extinct. And Splyce have got a monumental advantage.
Unicorns are looking a little bit lost without the Sivir pick. You heard the analyst desk talking about it a couple of times, talking about how influential the AD carries were as well in this matchup. And without the team fighting, Unicorns have not quite looked the same in this game number 5. And after game 4, where Unicorns got the early Baron, and it resulted pretty much in a game win, Splyce are looking to do the same and are looking to put themselves among the greats at the 2016 World Championships.
This is what I was expecting to see all series long. Watching Splyce react, and Veritas, he had flash, he had heal, and he just did not respect the range of engage on that Gragas.
Yeah, and this is what has made it such a big pick for Trashy. He can track through the early game. He can engage very effectively as well. Catches out the AD carry, and from there, there's no damage here. Move is behind. Exileh is building a utility build. Trashy has not had the same presence as he had in previous games, and suddenly Splyce go from looking very shaky in games 2, 3, and 4 to being in full control of their destiny in game 5.
6,000 gold nearly in the lead. Baron on everybody. 2 or 3 item spikes basically across the board. And like you said, control their destiny. From promotion tournament in spring to 2nd place. Taking games of G2 in the finals. And even though they've had to go the whole hog, they are just minutes away from a showing in the World Championships. But it will need to be cleaned up. They'll need to use this Baron effectively and not fall prey to the Shen engages.
Maybe go full hog, but you know, the last couple of games with Splyce making a pig zero things. As they finally found this form. Exileh taking on Wunder.
Well, should be able to get the kill this time around. Wunder Doesn't have much support.
He's got one.
No, he gets it in a 2-on-1. Wunder shows up. The Gangplank finally really stepping up, and Trashy doesn't care. Look, as long as Trashy's here, the base is being broken open. Splyce have done it. Veritas gets caught. Trashy knocks him into the team. Yes, they've traded back and forth, but the base is opened up. Now Move gets taken down. The barrel roll into the body slam. The inhibitor's killed. There's still 30 seconds on the clock. Splyce have Baron. Splyce might be looking to finish.
Splyce want to push in. They want to put themselves in the World Championships. Hylissang alone won't be able to save the entire game. Splyce want to push this through.
There's so many minions to deal with. Splyce set their sights on the Nexus turrets. They're dropping it down. Trashy and Hilly, they can't clear the wave. They can't stop the champions. The Spirit's Refuge does nothing to dissuade the kills, but Splyce play it safe. They get a Nexus turret. They get the inhibitors, and they get themselves out clean.
The Splyce section has come unglued a little bit here in the studio now that they can taste their spot as the 3rd seed from Europe. And again, it's this finally Wunder is showing us why we've been calling him one of the top laners we've got in Europe. It's been a bit of a shaky series for Splyce, but finally, even taunting Vizicsacsi after this, just dancing in his face. And Splyce just shove a massive wave up into the bottom side. And they've done critical damage to the base now. Inhibitor is down in the bottom side. It doesn't even matter that Sencux gets taken out here because it's just all about Splyce dealing with member after member of the Unicorns. And again, Wunder actually died. A little too showboating in the top lane, but...
He was keeping Vizicsacsi busy.
Exactly.
Allowed the inhibitor to go down. A worthwhile sacrifice. Well, when all else fails...
Do a Fnatic.
Pitch a tent, camp a bush, and hope for the best. 10,000 gold down. Supers, no Nexus turret on the bottom half of the base. It would take a mistake from Splyce for Unicorns to bounce back, but that is something we have seen. This has been an interesting series, right? There's a lot to break down.
Well, it's been a messy series, honestly. When you look at these two teams competing for the 3rd seed, there's been a fair absence of strategy.
This game, however, I think some credit to Splyce. They've really stepped up and Wunder step a little bit out of bounds here. Damage onto Veritas. Cannon Barrage takes him down. Still in the 1v2 with the help of Sencux. The rest of Splyce now starting to go a little wiry.
Veritas had heal and flash. Trashy careful here.
Once again, Mikyx coming from the side. Cosmic Binding not going to lock anyone up. Tempered Fate is available. Mikyx not pulling the trigger yet. Finally uses it to save Kobbe. Kobbe's got flash. Flash is out for his life. But Trashy chases through. Splyce, they may have done it. They may have made the mistake that Unicorns wanted. Unicorns find themselves 4, and they might be able to run down Mikyx. Baron's not alive just yet, but this will buy time. Just as we were praising Splyce, just as we were talking about the clean control of Game 5, it just comes apart in the 30th minute.
Wunder tries again to go aggressive 1v2, and yes, he gets the kill. He shouldn't have got it because Veritas had both summoners available. Really should have read that damage, but man, this... Why does Veritas not dash or flash or heal in this? So it wasn't really 1v2 because Sencux was there. It looked to be 2v1 to start this off. I mean, Wunder has so much damage that he can do this. Veritas ends up just dying on the edge of it. Thought he was getting out there. We saw him die to a spear in the same way yesterday when he, or day 1, the day he didn't move. But Trashy ends up going aggressive. No ultimate in this engage. Trashy goes in. Really nice Bard ultimate at first, but Kobbe should have flashed earlier here. He was trying to get damage out and ends up giving his life because of it. Couldn't get away. Sencux comes in from the angle. It's 2 versus 4. Mikyx doesn't have anything left to offer. Splyce is still ahead. They have a significant lead. But the Unicorns, is that the stall that they needed, getting the Baron off most?
For a little bit of time, at the very least. Splyce will need to make more of those mistakes for Unicorns to regain control. By the way, Kobbe stole red buff from Unicorns with a deadly flourish from just out of range, so that's why he's got red buff at the moment. Tower is under siege. Wunder, teleporting Cannon Barrage is available. He's down in the bottom line.
And he's going.
Sand United comes up. Tempered Fate goes way, way wide.
Oh, Veritas!
He's caught out. He flashes this time round. stays alive for a few seconds longer. The fourth and final shot tags Hilly.
They got
That's
him.
a very good stun. Veritas and move. With Veritas down, there's no real damage. Deadly flourish onto Trashy. He's locked up in the back line. Sencux is pushing forward. Malefic Visions, I don't think will kill him. It's a double kill for Kobbe. He's looking for more. Trashy's running for his life. Smug Yamato Cannon in game 5. As it looks like Splyce will be going to Worlds. They just need to push into the base, and look at the Nexus.
Finally, a turnaround from Splyce. When you look at how they played this series, they've been a lot better in this game. They're looking for the inhibitor. They need to get bottom inhib down. It is still open. Mikyx pushes forward. You have to take this slowly here. They get good damage down onto Exileh. Trashy still causing a nuisance. They've got to get that inhib first.
They really do. That's how you deal damage to the towers, waiting for that minion line to push in. At least one super minion with them, and again, playing it safe, playing it controlled, forgetting that you need to have an inhib down before you can kill a Nexus. I will forgive that minor lapse of judgment. But now, Splyce, Baron is live. Dragon's up in a minute.
Just be careful. Don't book the boot camp yet. TP comes out. Unicorns are going to try and rush this Baron down, and it is the last-ditch attempt. If they engage this, they are throwing everything at it.
Oh, Hilly saved Trashy! He saved him! Oopsie. I think that was a body slam, and then the body slam got headbutted.
Yeah.
Oh, what a difference that could have made. To be fair, there was a lot of support from Splyce coming up, so Trashy with Barrel, with all of his beefiness, would have taken a long time to go down, and UOL committed a teleport to that play. 2 teleports to that play, and it equals nothing.
Would this be the cruel twist of fate? Splyce brought back into the series in Game 3 with a Baron steal from Trashy. Would it be so cruel for it to happen in reverse? They got Wunder already.
Let's find out. Wunder's down. Move is the target.
Down.
Trashy gets him out. Sencux has got one. Exileh get a gigantic shield. Stays alive.
Oh, Mikyx down.
Veritas gets a kill. Trashy's
so tanky.
The game is turned around. It's a double kill. Those are tears now. Those tears are turning to fears as Sencux is getting run down. Unicorns of Love. They get an ace.
They're getting the Baron from this. They don't need move. They ace them. They have tanks to deal with this. Is this possibly the turnaround for the Unicorns?
Look at the player camps. Trashy is distraught. In 35 minutes, Unicorns of Love clean up the fight. They get Baron, and they've now stalled the game. Can Unicorns take control? They were so far behind. This is a play that levels the competitive field. It doesn't give them the lead yet.
Just one or two too many disrespectful plays. Hylissang goes right in, catches Wunder. Wunder gets taken out before he can react with anything. Did get his ultimate down, so they get some damage down in the fight, but Unicorns, Veritas is alive for this. Moving forward in the fight. Trashy gets a good knockback, but there's nobody there. Chachi is holding a lot of the damage. Sencux and Kobbe were both pushed back by this Shen, and Unicorns take the Baron. One too many overconfident plays, perhaps. Wunder dying around there. Look at the damage Veritas finally found in this. Whew.
Magnificent performance in the fight. But the thing is, again, reminder, still 6,000 gold down. Supers still to deal with in the bottom lane. So this will give Splyce some breathing room, but no room for error. The front line has to be Trashy. When Wunder gets caught out by that headbutt pulverize, you see how quickly he goes down. One by one, that's how Unicorns want to pick their target selection. Guardian Angel is up for Chachi. Tower number 3 falls. 8 towers to 3. But Unicorns are closing the gold lead.
And here comes the gold swing. As you said, they're closing the lead. They will continue to push. Chachi will hold bottom lane. Against the super minions, they can deter and push back the aggression with the Gangplank for now.
Whew. There is 1 Nexus turret and 2 teleports in the side of Splyce. If Unicorns make a mistake, if Unicorns pick a bad fight, they will lose the game. They will not go to the World Championship. The same can be said for Splyce.
Chachi's ult is available, his TP is not. Wunder has his cannon barrage. and both TPs from Splyce. If Unicorns make a mistake and commit to a fight in which Sencux and Wunder can TP into the base, into those minions that are pushing into the bottom lane, there is the backdoor potential. That is why Trashy has to push this wave so far away from the Nexus. He has to get it all the way out of the base, and that means Unicorns have to just stall out this Baron buff for now. They would love to be pushing more, but the GP is deterring them far too easily.
Deterring, but that doesn't win the game. Splyce, how do they get themselves back into this? Baron will be timing out relatively soon. Dragon is
it's an ocean
and then Elder, so it's a long time away from that.
Exactly, and that is actually maybe a bit of a boost for Splyce here, because while this time that Unicorns have the Baron buff pushing away is normally the one where you pivot out and look for the Elder Drake. We have 6 minutes. Baron will be live before that Dragon is live once again. Big stack in the bottom lane.
The deciding game, the final of the 2016 season, is coming down to this. Sencux and Wunder trying to chase down Trashy, and they bail away as Unicorns find some support. At this stage in the game, the 4,000 gold lead doesn't mean anything. What matters, exposed inhibitor and 1 Nexus turret down. Also, will Unicorns run out of damage? They've only really got Lucian.
Oh, Hilly, they're going on Sencux.
Sencux is in so much trouble. Tempered Fate locks down Veritas, and this has become a messy fight. Nethergrasp onto Trashy, the rest of Splyce running away. Trashy's going to have his GA popped. Curtain call comes out, second shot, tags Hylissang, third 2. Fourth one, shuts down Vizicsacsi. 1 minute death timer.
1 minute death timer. Unicorns have got to get away. If they lose anybody else, it could be curtains for the World Championships. Hilly gets locked down.
He does indeed. The deadly flourish locks him out. First pick Jhin paying dividends. Wunder's going to push forward. Inhibitor exposed in the bottom lane. They're in a 5v3 for another 40 seconds.
It's going to be the mid-inhib for Splyce. It's the wave that is pushing up, because with the backdoor protection still on that bot inhib, it takes a long time to get down to Splyce. Want to deal more damage and then rotate across. But that wave is pushed so far away. Splyce want to get this mid lane. They got Exileh.
Body slam comes out. A lot of damage on Exileh. He's rooted in place. He's down.
But Veritas
gets him. Veritas may get something on the
He's
reply.
dead.
It's Wunder. Veritas gets stopped. Splyce have done it.
No, he's not.
Tempered Fate comes down. Veritas sidesteps. It's a few seconds longer. Shut down. Goes to Mikyx on the board. It's an ace. The Unicorns are down. They're losing their base, and Splyce, they just have to push it to the Nexus.
It's only going to be Trashy against 4 members of Splyce, as Splyce are pushing in to look for the win.
4 versus 1. Trashy's going to get taken down. Nethergrasp locks him out. It is just a matter of time. Rooted in place by the deadly flourish, and Hilly's going to buy all the time that he can. It simply will not matter. Splyce looks to take down the Nexus turret, take down Hilly, and Splyce, they dispel the Unicorn's magic. Splyce, they control the chaos, and Splyce have qualified for the 2016 World Championships. It was a crazy, crazy best of 5. And in the end, Splyce come out on top.
Splyce out on top, but you even heard the team say it themselves. We almost lost, but nevertheless, the result will stand. 3-2. Splyce, in their first season in the LCS, have got themselves a World Championship seed.
Promotion tournament in spring, championship finals in summer, 3rd seed at Worlds, a regional qualifier. And all kudos to the Unicorns of Love. This is a team that is more often criticized than praised. But nobody can deny that they have a phenomenal impact. Regional qualifier finals 2 years in a row. They just got to repair and rebuild.
It doesn't matter whether you're giving them sympathy or regret, you will give them your respect after this run through the Gauntlet. One game shy, but it is Splyce that have come out on top. A team that looked so good through the regular split, so good in, you know, moments of the playoffs, and a shaky moment or two here today. A couple of games that didn't go their way, but I'm looking forward to a bootcamped Splyce that can go out, train against some of the best teams the world has to offer, and I want to see them come in at another level than we've seen before.
You cannot take away from the team that when the pressure is on, Splyce do not buckle. 5 games against H2K, and in the 5th game they showed up. 5 games against UOL, and in the 5th game they almost throw at Baron, and they find a way back in. There is a level-headedness and a calmness to their gameplay which shines through in these best-of series, and I also have to say, the Jhin, it worked out.
It did.
Time and time again, those deadly flourish roots, locking down UOL at distance, and then controlling the game.
Just Splyce in that game looked so good in the early game, pushing the Unicorns back. But as you said, that one fight around Baron potentially kind of threw it all away. And, you know, it already looked like Splyce had the game by then. But I'm so excited to see what they can do. Because this, I think, kind of leaves a sour taste in the sense of like where Splyce are right now.
Yeah.
But we've always said it, where G2, where H2K, where Splyce are going to be after a bootcamp is the real key thing, because those are the 3 teams from Europe going to Worlds.
Yes, that's it. Pool 3 seed locked in for Splyce. And, you know, just to turn our attention to Unicorns, fantastic. You know, the meta moves in the standard lane direction, and all of a sudden Unicorns become a very real threat. They took a game of G2. They ran the Gauntlet in magnificent fashion, and just great showing. The resiliency to dig deep and to fix some of their problems.
Yeah, exactly. To come back and kind of fix a lot of their issues. I mean, Unicorns they won't want to take a break right now, but they can. They deserve one after a Gauntlet run like that. I think that there's a lot of testament to how they have performed, honestly, for both teams this split when you look at it. I mean, yes, we had the downfall of the likes of Fnatic, Origin, this split, but, you know, teams have stepped up. Teams have stepped up. Splyce in the regular split stepping up. Unicorns looking so much better right now over these 3 days.
Has been taken over by Challenger. Last year, Origin...
I get misquoted on that.
No. It has been. Last year, Origin take over the summer finals. Okay, this is a little bit unfair calling them a Challenger team. G2, as well as Splyce, qualify from the 2015 Challenger circuit in summer. G2 wins the summer split. Splyce wins the regional qualifier. 2 out of the 3 teams are first-time World Championship participants in G2 and Splyce. And it is a changing of a guard. It is a changing of organizations, as some of the older teams like Fnatic have to adapt, have to deal with the pressure that the new, young, hungry teams are putting on them.
Well, we're going to have to see whether they can. That's all for the 2017 season. But we got Worlds is the next real stop. It is the stop of the year.
And the question, how good or bad is the European LCS?
Ooh.
Because it is a question that hundreds and hundreds of people have debated and discussed.
It is.
And we're going to find out in about a month's time.
It's very interesting that as well, because coming into last year's Worlds, Europe were the ones that were kind of dictating a lot of the lane swap meta. Other people will tell you otherwise, but any team that went and scrimmed and actually played the meta, played the European lane swap meta. We do not have that this split.
Yeah.
We do not have this season. That is not an advantage that is in our back pocket that we've been playing for a split. Now we've got to play basically standard lanes and outshine some of the best.
And go toe-to-toe. Unicorns, Fear Our Horns, the Love Hurts crew have been the loudest fans I have heard in the studio all split long. And the support has helped UOL make it to the regional qualifier final, but unfortunately, just not enough.
Yeah, unfortunately, like it looked maybe like they could get it, but that last fight, Veritas couldn't quite stay alive. Unicorns just not able to keep hold of the game, and Splyce are going to Worlds.
They are indeed, and it's about time to actually hear from some of the players.